Hello, gorgeous queen. How are you today? So, we're going to see how the lighting is because the sun keeps shining and I keep getting blind print on my face. But we're going to run with it. So if I start doing this, that's why. I hope you're well. Welcome to episode 19 of the podcast. If and when you are catching this live, please do say hello. Drop me your favourite emoji in the comments. If you're a first-time listener, let me know whereabouts in the world you are tuning in from. If you are on Facebook. If you are listening to the podcast on audio, then thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy today's episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because I drop a video every single week. So today I wanted to talk about the real deal with consistency. And I have to start this episode by saying I used to fucking hate the word consistency. Hate it. Because I struggled with it so much. And I also used to hate the saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because consistent people used to say this to me all the fucking time. And I'm swearing a lot on today's episode because I remember those moments very fondly, as you can tell. If you are someone who struggles with consistency, please let me know. Let me know in the show notes. Let me know over on YouTube. Let me know on Facebook. Let me know because I know, like I know, what it's like to set a goal, to make a commitment, and then to really struggle being consistent in taking the action that leads us to creating the result. When deep down, we know that we're capable of making it happen, but there's just this internal noise that goes on that just seems to stop us in our tracks. So if you relate to this, reach out to me and let me know because, except with this sun, if you listen on the podcast, I've got like sun stripes across my face right now. Let me see if I can just move there we go. If I go there, look, I can see. Just to let you know also, I've had dinner. This is a late podcast. So I'm sat here with my jeans completely undone, just allowing dinner to settle in my stomach. That's the vibe tonight for the podcast. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this because I used to really struggle with consistency. And when I started to learn more about like me, my personality, my energy type, what actually works for me and what doesn't, I actually started to learn that I am naturally an inconsistent person. And this isn't an excuse. This isn't being lazy. This isn't being useless, which is what I used to think about myself. I used to think there must be something wrong with me because I cannot seem to stick to anything consistently long term. When actually, again, I talk about human design all the time, but when I learned about my human design and that I'm a manifesting generator, I'm a bit of a ping pong ball in my energy. So in some areas, I will be inconsistent. And it's the things that actually are truly aligned with me and my sacral, as in what it is that I really, really want. Creating some structure around that and the action that aligns with what my heart truly wants and taking that action, even when I didn't feel like it, was a massive game changer for me. And another thing that I'll say is when I really made the commitment to go like all in on myself, I got to the end of 2019, itchy nose. I got to the end of 2019 and I was really annoyed with myself because I had been procrastinating, been inconsistent, been self-sabotaging myself by doom scrolling a lot in the year. I had not been showing up consistently on my social media. I'd not been marketing consistently. There was no consistency at all in the years prior to 2020. And I used to give myself a really hard time for my lack of consistency and for the fact that there was something wrong with me, in inverted commas. And when I actually reflected on how life had been up to that point, it had been pretty challenging and I'd been through quite a lot. I'd been through a marriage separation, I'd become a single parent, and I'd been a single parent at that stage since 2014, so six years being a single parent. I'd not really dealt with any emotions that had happened during that time, and it's because I just didn't feel like I had the capacity to deal with any more stress or any more pressure. And because life was so sort of up and down and so could be so testing and challenging as a single parent, it meant that every time that I set myself a goal, and it was something that seemingly didn't matter, as in if I didn't do the action, no one would know. So it was like personal goals for me, or it was like goals in my business. And I had no accountability for that, because I didn't want accountability for it, by the way, because I didn't want someone telling me what to do, because I was a strong, independent woman. I didn't want anyone telling me what to do, but I was also not being consistent in the areas that actually mattered to me. I discovered that actually it was a stress response from my nervous system, that every time that things started to feel hard, because so many elements of my life had been hard and were hard, it's like I just could not deal with the challenge. I'd had enough challenge. I had enough challenge. And so my capacity to deal with challenge, I had none. And so every time I found myself getting either stressed or taking some action forward, my nervous system would naturally start to sort of brace or start to slow me down. My energy would start to lag, and I would start to be inconsistent, and I found it really hard to lead myself forward. And it's because I was trying to avoid becoming, in inverted commas, in a state of feeling unsafe. Because I had a lot of emotions buried deep within me that I'd not really expressed, I'd not talked about. You know, the pain of going through the separation, the single parenting, the struggles of that. I kept a lot of it to myself, and I hardly spoke to anyone about how hard it was, because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want people to think that I couldn't manage. You know, your biggest fear as a parent, I think, is having your children taken away from you. And you just think if people feel or think that you're not coping, then obviously there's a problem. So anything like that, I kept so much to myself. And that just built up inside to the point where, like I said, it was affecting my personal and professional performance in the things that I wanted to do. So I'd set a goal, but then I found it really hard to maintain that consistency. So I was in a cycle of just feeling annoyed, feeling frustrated, wondering what the hell was wrong with me. And then it got to 2020, the beginning of 2020, and I was that annoyed with myself that I just said, that's it. I've had enough. I am making a decision. And I'm actually going to be doing a free masterclass this month on this very thing. And it's a free masterclass. If you want to join, let me know in the comments. Just write free masterclass, or I'm in, I want to be in, and I can send you the registration link for it. I want to talk to you about that moment of making the decision to go all in, and also then what it took for me to completely change how I made decisions, how I led myself, the circumstances that happened surrounding it. Because when I made the decision that I'd had enough of my own shit, and I knew that I was capable of more, and I knew deep down I'd got what it takes, it was just I kept getting in my own way. I want to share like what actually happened in order for me to then completely change like how I led myself. And when it comes to consistency, how I started to understand all of the things about how the sort of the stress of how life had like been, and actually explained why when I reached a capacity. So when I started to take action and when I started to find it hard, why I actually started to go backwards. And I learned actually how to hold myself with love and compassion in those moments of, I don't want to show up today. I don't want to go live today. I don't want to do the workout today. I don't want to launch the program this week. I don't want to do those things. I don't want to write on social media. You know, those things are where we battle with the consistency and say to ourselves, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I don't work out because no one's going to know. It doesn't matter if I post on social media because no one's going to notice. All those moments where I would say to myself, it doesn't matter, I reframe that to, it does, because I matter. And I started to lead myself like that. And when I learned about human design and my energy type, I thought, actually, there are some things that I'm not meant to be consistent in. And inconsistency in some areas is actually a superpower for me when I trust my sacral, when I trust my intuition. And so blending these things together and leading myself based on like my design with love and compassion for me, this is how I completely changed things when it came to how I viewed consistency. Because now, when I make a commitment or when I make a decision, I no longer question or doubt if I'm capable of making it happen, because I know deep within that I am. And when it comes to consistency, I just know that that's just me leading myself to do the thing. And as humans, this can be the hardest thing to do, is that leadership of doing the action that aligns with what we say we want. It's that. And it's that moment of making the decision and moving, which can be the hardest thing. And it's this that I help my clients with. It's this that I want to talk to you about inside of my new masterclass. Now, over the last probably couple of days, through May, if I rewind, because we're now on June the 4th, 2026, in May, I had a really amazing month in that I had new clients come into my world, both in my membership and in my mastermind. So my membership is called Self-Led. My mastermind is called Immersion. And I had clients join both those experiences. And I had my biggest sales month of the year so far in May. And it comes as no coincidence that May is the month that I made a significant investment in myself and my business for the next 12 months. And I locked in. And what I want to share at this moment is that I've made that investment and I've been part of that experience now for a whole month. And I can see where I've been not fully, like showing fully up, not going all in. Like I am starting to notice, and this is the thing, when you make a decision, you make a move, when you make an investment, it highlights so much about like who you are and how you're doing things, because all of a sudden you're in an environment where you're getting asked questions, you know, how's this going? How are you getting on with that? I've got a list of things that, you know, I am working through that aligns with what I want to do. And I am fascinated with, again, rather than getting frustrated with myself, it's like getting fascinated with where I'm just holding. I can feel like I'm on this teetering edge now, where I either go all in or I lean back. Now I know that I'm going to go all in. And it's taken like the last probably year and a half to get to this point of feeling really settled in who I am, in where I am now in life, in how things are going, and to fully be just grounded in my foundations now, because I've found sort of, especially in 2025, I found that I didn't feel like fully able to show up online in a way that I wanted to, in an authentic way, as in I held a lot back in 2025. I know why, my clients know why, like people in the world know why, but I very much held back. And the years prior to that, you know, I'd stepped away from my business for a few years. And so it's been a process of getting braver, being willing to show up and do more, obviously doing things like this podcast. And I've been looking at other ways in which I can just lead from my design, lead from my sacral, market the things that I want to market on my social media in a way that lights me up. And from this podcast onwards, 'cause this is a bit of a declaration, is I am going to be going all in again. So like the decision that I made in 2020, today's the day where it's like, right, this is it now. Let's fucking go. Because things are starting to happen. And rather than get to a point and go, oh, this is okay, it's time to really drive this in. So if you are someone who struggles with consistency, if you even hate the fucking words consistency, I know how you feel. And if you want to start to make friends with being more consistent, being committed, you want to go all in, you want to make shit happen, whether that's in your life or your business. If you have like a personality like mine, where that when there's an element of challenge, when there's an element of like something to work towards, it gets you excited And it can also expose parts of you where you want to avoid, you don't want to show up, you don't want to do the thing, you're feeling the fear, you feel uncomfortable. Then make sure you register for my new masterclass that's happening in June, because we're going to be talking about all of this. And I want to share with you like I said, the stories and the things that happened when I made the commitment to go all in on me and my business in 2020. I can share the stories as they come up now, which I will. But in terms of that time, I have to say that I got my arse spanked in 2020, as in, and I've had this conversation with clients where they've said, I've made this big scary decision and then all this stuff's come up, this has happened. Is it a sign from the universe that I'm not meant to be going in this direction? Or am I not meant to be showing up in this way? Am I not meant to be growing my business? Should I go back to my job? All these things, I'm like, no. All these things come through and happen in life because life just happens. But it's actually for you to show your commitment to yourself. Because this is the thing, when you say that you are all in on something, there is no question of what happens, what comes up, whatever happens. You are like in. I am all in. This is the level of commitment that's required to create the life and business that you want. And I can do this with quiet confidence now that I am all in, like I know. This used to be a lot shakier for me. And that commitment in 2020 to go all in was very much like, I am done with my shit now. I am done with messing around. I am done with not being consistent. I am so over like not creating the life and business that I like really want. And the events that happened in the months that followed that, probably for 6 months, oh, you could not write it. I mean, I could write a book and people would read it and go, that can't have fucking happened all in that space of time. And I'm like, listen, believe. There was tests. Like, are you really in? And every single one, I was like, I am here and I am not going anywhere. And the payoff from that was massive. And so I know now where I am. And I know that the break that I had for a few years was 100% required because the foundations of my life just weren't aligned. Like the universe was just like, we've shown you what is possible. And, you know, we've shown you what you can create when you make that commitment and you go all in. But there came a moment a few years after I made that commitment where the universe was just like, no, the foundations of this aren't right. We can't allow her to go all in and to create and to build with this as the foundation. She needs to go back and do some work. And so that's what I've very much been doing, is really stripping things back, releasing what no longer serves, and really rebuilding from the ground up. And I'm at that point now where assets are built in business, foundations of life are like amazing, and I'm in the best position possible to make this decision again and say, I am all in. Let's fucking go. So if you want more details of the masterclass that's coming up in June, then reach out to me on DM. Just say, I've seen your podcast, I've listened to the podcast, I want details. Write it in the comment if you're on Facebook, and you will be the first to get details. Let me tell you now, this masterclass is going to light a fire up your fucking arse, all right? You are going to be making decisions in that masterclass that are going to change the trajectory of your whole damn life and your fucking business, because I ain't messing around. I'm not here to play around. I know, and this is the thing with all the work that I've now done, is I know that when you make this commitment and when you make this move and when you align in my world, it's done. Like, it's done. The things that happen, the things that my clients experience, the transformations that happen, I 100% know that my clients can and will transform in my world. And I know that because that's been my experience for me. It's my clients' experience when we work together. And I'm excited to bring you into that energy, into that world, into that calibration, into that portal, into that masterclass, to experience how that actually feels, like how it looks, how it feels and the steps that you can take to just completely change things. So like I said, if you want details of the masterclass, reach out to me on DM. Let me know. If you are listening on YouTube and you're listening on the podcast, then connect with me on socials. It's Louise Elizabeth Blood on Facebook and on Instagram. Make sure you connect with me, follow me there on those platforms, reach out to me, DM me. If you want to email me, you can also email, and that's hello@louiseblood.co.uk. But don't miss out. It is going to be amazing. I cannot fucking wait. So, and by the way, this says Milano on my top, Italy. I'm now a new fan of Italy because it's my second home. So sending you all lots of love. I hope you've had a wonderful day, whatever you've been doing today. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me now on my socials as we go into full marketing for this masterclass. The vibe is keeping it real, is just showing up as is. Obviously that's what I do anyway, but at the moment I've been doing a lot more posts. I want to start doing a lot more reels. I want to start doing a lot more lives, a lot more videos. I want to talk to you. I want to know what's going on for you. I want to know what your struggles are. I want to know where you're at in your business. Like, I want to know what your goals are, what's important to you. What is it that you actually fucking want? Because when I know that, I can help you make it happen. So reach out to me. Let me know where you're at. Get your fucking ass in the masterclass, and I will see you over on the socials.